everyone, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast where we chat about romance novels, usually $5 and under. Okay, so imagine, if you will, you are suddenly a character in a rom com where you have been deserted on a deserted island. But okay, you are with the sexiest person you have ever seen, and you think things are gonna get wild. You think things are gonna get steamy. But no, what happens to you is you find an outhouse where there are spiders coming out of the toilet. That is just one scene in the book Hunter's Treasure, which I promise you is not a nightmare book, but it's actually a super fun romance. It just doesn't shy away from like the gritty parts of survival that include, creatures you have to deal with that you don't want to deal with, but you have to, like bugs and snakes. As you can tell, I really hate the outdoors, but I loved this book. I am thrilled to have the writer of Hunter's Treasure, Olivia Jackson, on this special Hot as Hell with TSTL episode where I chat with romance authors about their latest releases. So, if you love forced proximity romances that have shipwrecks, mysteries, adventures, and a whole lot of sex breaks, you're going to love this episode. Please enjoy Olivia Jackson getting hot as hell with TSTL. Oh my goodness, Olivia Jackson, welcome to this podcast, Too Stupid to Live.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting. I'm very excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you. I just finished your book, Hunter's Treasure, which was such a fun read. I have to say that that book had all of my biggest fears in one story, and I still loved it.
Are we talking about snakes?
Snakes, yes. Snakes and jumping into water off of a cliff. Just like anything water and drowning. Those are like my two biggest fears. And I was like, this is so much, but I need to find out what happens.
Well, at least you had all the emotions when you were reading it. I had one reader told me that she's allergic to shellfish or maybe fish, like seafood, and coconuts. So she's like, she'll be dead in that book right away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would just like die of fear right away. And like, that's so funny. Like, do you have any like fears that like you had that you're like, I will never write about this? This gives me the ick, like anything like that?
Well, I don't like snakes. And
you still wrote about them.
Yeah. But other than that, I jumped once off the cliff and it didn't go well because I hit the water, I guess with the side of my head, and I got such enormous migraine right away.
Oh no.
I was dizzy the rest of the day, and then I had to drive everybody because it was during college, and I was the designated driver. And I had to drive with migraine. And the worst thing, actually, when we came back to my car, somebody took a bat and hit the windshield. They thought they were funny. I don't think I made anybody mad. I didn't know anybody there except my husband and a few friends. But I think it's just one of those things. So I had to drive with migraine and a broken windshield. So anyway,
that's terrible.
That was my experience with jumping off the cliff. Never again.
No. And it wasn't even, I love how it was like, it wasn't even the act of jumping off the cliff. It was like everything that happened afterward. You're just like, no, I don't want not dealing with this.
Yeah. I had to come up with a lot of things to make people feel uncomfortable.
That is true. Because, like, I guess you have to, like, when you're writing, like, you do have to kind of go into, like, territory where it's like, we need to create stress, we need to create tension. And I'm sure that's something that you run into as an author.
Yeah, that book, it went through so many variations. And when I finally got my agents, I queried my agent with that novel first, and she rejected me. She loved it, but she rejected me. And I queried her with my other book, Digging Dr. Jones, and she loved that book. So when we came back to Hunter's Treasure, we had to sit down. She's in London, I'm here in Atlanta, and talk about how we can make it more action adventure.
Yeah.
And she said, like, I had to bring modern pirates and actually put the treasure there, because in the first books they were looking for something else. And So I had to sit down and rewrite pretty much a half of the book
Mm-hmm.
and make it still kind of keeping reader on the edge of their seat,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time make it more comedy and romance, like my
Yes.
first book, The Digging Dr. Jones. So there was some rewriting there.
Right, totally, totally. Well, tell me how you got into reading and writing romance. The beginning. You were born, and then what happened? That's the question.
So I was born in USSR,
Mm-hmm.
and we were reading quite a lot of, in my opinion, daunting and not fun books. It's a
Okay.
classical literature. I'm sure it's fantastic, but as a child and a teenager, when you're forced to read those books, it was a torture. So actually, I was not a big fan of reading because it was just, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the first romance that I read, maybe I was like 14, was Angelique by Anne Golden, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a French author. And then the movies came out, or at least they were available in Russia. And I was fascinated with romance. But then, was all forgotten. And I was also writing my own little books, but they were all adventure because I was fascinating with geography. And it could be because, growing up in USSR, it's a very close country, can travel much. And 90s, people start traveling, things get more exposed to us. And I started writing a traveling book, not romance. It was all about friends being
Mm-hmm.
lost and trying to find their way back. And then I thought, well, I'm going to be an author. And my parents said, no, you're going to be poor.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were setting me up to go to United States. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you go to United States, you're going to study something that's going to fit you. And in 94, I believe, maybe 93, my dad bought a first computer for us. And I was the first kid in my entire school. In Russia, you have like from first grade all the way to the 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So like all together. So I think pretty much in the entire school, I was like a first kid to have a computer. So all of a sudden I became a really cool kid. And all the boys want to be friends with me.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my parents are like, you going to do something with computers because this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they were right. And
Yeah, yeah. Because you write on the computer, so no.
yeah. And so there's like, okay, when you go to United States, you will study something with computers. And I was like, well, I want to be a writer. And they said, no, like something else. And yes, they were right. Being an author is not exactly like you will be rolling like a Donald, what is not Donald, that was it. Whatever that Scrooge
Scrooge
McDuck
McDuck. Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
money. Not right
Mm-hmm.
away at least.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I came to the United States, I picked software engineering because it
Mm-hmm.
was still interesting to me. And I graduated with software engineering and got a job, which did put the roof over my head and fed me. And I worked many years as a software engineer, hopping from one job to another. And then my husband and I had kids, and it's kind of hard to be a mother, the wife, and also a career woman because in software engineering, you bring your work home and
Right,
then
right.
you being expected to work at home. And it would be 4 o'clock in the morning calls because there's bug in the system that crashing and you don't get paid advertisements or something else, or there's a lunch at 3 o'clock in the morning and you have to be at work anyway, and then you work hours in Atlanta, drive home. So we kind of was going through survival of Chick-fil-A. I don't know if you guys have on your side Chick-fil-A, but I'll stop from work, get Chick-fil-A, bring it home, and that's what we'll eat. And then you play with the kids, put them to bed, maybe do some chores in the house, and then you either work or you just pass out and go
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
bed.
Right.
And eventually it got so stressful that my husband had to sit down with me and say, something gotta give. Like
Mm.
little children and career. And I guess I was driving him a little bit nuts because I was driving myself a little bit nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I quit. I quit. It took me 6 months to quit my job. I cried my eyes out because I really, really like my job. I was
Mm-hmm.
working for a Danish company here in Atlanta, and just fantastic people, fun job. But they were trying to put me for a path that will also require me to travel
Mm-hmm.
internationally, which fantastic if you're single or have no kids.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't do that. And my husband also started his business, so he had a lot of going on. So I quit, and um, it was stressful in the beginning because I had to give up health insurance, this and that, and we have to live on the one salary.
Mm-hmm.
But I I kind of liked it because I don't know, it's like no more stress for me. I could focus on my kids
Mm-hmm.
and my house, family, and then few years passed. We went to a trip to Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in a castle that only had tours, or at least when we were there, the tour was in German, and neither of us
Mm-hmm.
speaks German. We couldn't understand anything, but we were just, amazed by this beautiful castle.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, I started imagining things. What if, there's a secret passage, and like, well, what would you do if it's a secret passage? And then I got this character in my head. And on the way back, I picked up a Outlander book
Mm-hmm.
because it became, I guess, the big show, and it was
Yeah.
like in airports everywhere. So I picked up the book, and we had 9 hour flight, and I read that book, and I was like, oh, there's a castle, there's romance. And as I guess I started thinking about the books, and that lady from the castle with the secret passage would just not leave me alone.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sit down and I thought, you know what? I used to want to be an author. And the kids were just a little bit old enough where they went to bed by themselves. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you read with them, say goodnight, and then off they go. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
like, spend night hours with them because they were crying or something.
Right, right.
So I started writing in the evenings, and I wrote my first book, which was a total crap. But I had to start somewhere. So this is a very long
Sure.
story.
Yeah, yeah. But it's nice to know that, like, okay, you can make these like big changes and like, I feel like when we were like growing up, we're always taught like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you can't do this. You reach that point in like adulthood where you're like, well, I can make my own rules. And that's like such a scary, I mean, it's freeing, but it's also like really scary because you have no one like looking over your shoulder saying yes, no, yes, no. And I think that's like really inspiring to a lot of people, especially right now where we're just kind of, I don't know, just like living our day to day life and just trying to get through the day and just like kind of we're searching for like more meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I guess writing was also, I'm gonna mispronounce this word, Catholic.
Yeah,
It,
yeah, yeah.
it just, I found something that I really enjoyed, and I was really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to my job as a software engineer at my last company, I really enjoyed that. But it was so stressful to try to perform well there because you
Mm-hmm.
try to strive towards, something, the goal of not to be fired or something,
Right. Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
promoted. And it puts the stress on you. Whereas here, you also, or I was writing and enjoying it and striving towards the goal to become a published author, but also on my own terms. And
Mm-hmm.
that made it even more enjoyable. I had I was blessed, or am blessed, to have a husband who could support me to do that.
Right.
And he was the only one who knew that. And he, because I didn't want to tell anybody because it would be embarrassing. People
Mm.
know that you write a book and then they're going to make fun of you or something.
Those people
Um,
are terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
but I mean, I didn't tell my mom and my dad for, gosh, almost till I found an agent, or close to at least looking for an agent, because I was embarrassed for them to say, haha, we told you, how hard it is to be an author. I think I
Right.
haven't told them yet this, they were right about which degree I should get.
Sure, sure.
Maybe I
Yeah,
should.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. That I kind of get it because it's like there's also this fear of like, okay, you're taking such a big risk, and it's like anything that can like set you off, like you don't want to jinx it, maybe. You know what I mean?
yeah, and being Russian, we believe in jinx so much.
Yeah, yeah.
God, I'm trying to be less like that.
Sure. And that's you people should be. And I'm the same way of like, oh, well, I don't want to like tell someone about this idea I have because I'm going to jinx it. And then I'm like, who's there like there's no like wizard circling or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but anyway.
Do you think that's something that you would like work into um like your stories because it's like kind of find like the idea because like in Hunter's Treasure, you know, you have the treasure hunt and it is like kind of like this kind of good luck bad luck kind of vibe to it in a way, you know, of like, oh, you want to find this kind of certain like treasure, you know. It just I don't know, I'm feeling like the jinxing in your story for some reason.
Well, they did talk about it, how his family were saying like it brought the curse and this and
Hmm.
that, and she's like, she doesn't believe in that. It's like, and your life is basically what you make out of it. Your actions brings results, and
Hmm.
but sometimes I do think there's a lot of luck in writing and publishing.
Hmm.
Luck plays a huge role because it's
Yeah.
like you have to write the perfect book in the right time and either submit it to the correct or right agent for that moment. And at the same time, that agent has to submit your book at the right time to the editors.
Yeah.
So is it luck? I think it's luck. Or is it?
Totally. Yeah. Cause like I think about it like it just feels like, you know, hopefully like I've had like you know, like hopefully the agent's in a good mood, you know, because like do you know what I mean? It's like all of these
Yes.
things are like up to chance and it's like what your kind of success is based on is so like it's something that's completely out of your control of like, okay, well this agent or whoever's reading it like didn't have a stomach ache that day. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Yes. So there's luck. And then if you want to believe in jinxing and luck, well, there you go. But if you don't want to believe in anything, then you just say it's the right time, at the right moment, the right person.
Hmm. Right. So you like were in this castle that kind of inspired you to start writing. But your books are like I mean this book they're on a deserted island, not a deserted island, but like where
Yeah.
like so I guess this is a dumb question, but where did the castle go?
Oh, it's still there. My
Hmm.
sister and a few of my friends who read my first book, they still like, when you gonna rewrite that book? I was like, never. It's
Right.
dead. I'm not gonna revive it. But sometimes I do want to bring it back. I'm writing right now a book that's set in a castle.
Okay.
But it's like totally different castle, totally different cast of characters, a totally different idea. But it's in the castle. So we're going from Colombia to tropical island to England.
Hmm. Very cool. It's interesting because you mentioned that you were like really into geography and like I feel like that's something that you know I mean I had to look up where like the Cook Islands were in your book and then you're working on this thing that's like though they're jet setting, you know, so it does seem like and also the main character in Hunter's Treasure is a software engineer, so it seems like you're able to like incorporate like all these different interests, you know, you're not abandoning a past interest altogether, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think every book has, I can't speak for every author, but I'm quite
Hmm.
sure majority of the authors do bring a little bit of themselves into the book.
Hmm.
And for Hunter's Treasure, I had her software engineer because she has to be math thinking kind of person to help him to find the
Hmm.
treasure. I couldn't just make her cook. She could be a cook and just like puzzles, but it will be more believable. That
Yeah.
the way how her mind works will be beneficial to him.
Mhm, mhm.
And geography is, I think it was always set on some island, tropical island, to make it more weather friendly for them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to be somewhere where it's not easily passed by the boats.
Right, right.
like I look at the Atlantic Ocean and I was like, well, too down north will be cold. Too up, there's too much traffic going between North America to Europe. It's like, so the Pacific Ocean is a little bit bigger. So I'll look into that and made up the island, threw it
Mm-hmm.
kind of close to the Cook's Island, and thought, there, that will
Mm-hmm.
be my location. And then my husband at that time started dreaming of
Mm-hmm.
retirement, selling the house, buying a sailboat, and we'll be like sailing. So he was really, really into the sailboats,
Okay.
which helped me to do research because I took
Mm-hmm.
all his books that he kept getting and I read up about, even though there's not much of the sailboat, but there's potential that people who read my book knows about sailing.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want them to bash me too much.
Like, excuse me, that's the aft, not the da da da. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't say she pulled on a thingy. I was like, well, what is
Mm-hmm.
it called? And I spent so much time researching how many days it would take her and Bambi to sail from one place to another. That number changed so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I even reached out to a established author, Trisha Dollar,
Mm-hmm.
and asked her, if you will sail from here to here, let's say if you have a good weather and your boat about this big, how many days it would take you? And she was very kind to respond, like with a
Yeah.
lot of information. So this is how much in research I tried to do. Not
Mm-hmm.
only about, what kind of weather could be there, what can they grow? I mean, I want them to have avocados.
Yes. Yeah.
And I researched like on if they have like tropical, subtropical, like can they grow the avocados? Like, I think they can. So
Mm-hmm.
if they can't, I'm sorry. It's too late. It's already published.
Right, totally. Yeah, like you kind of like what did your basic. It's so funny because like after reading it, I was like, I think tonight I'm gonna make fish with mango and avocado sauce. Yeah, it really put me in the mood for
Good.
it.
I like that.
Well, it was like really interesting because like the island itself, like I found it like I mean, obviously, like my brain is gonna go find the comparisons of like things that I've loved growing up, whether it's Romancing the Stone or the show Lost and things like that. But you really didn't hesitate to kind of get into like the nitty gritty of like how much it's not that how much it sucks, but how much you don't have on an island when you're like literally trying to survive.
Well, I took away toilet paper from them, and my agent said, no, gross, it's romance. Give it back.
Right. Yeah. And
So I
that's
had
actually
to
what I'm
do that.
circling around is like, oh, you didn't like, I mean, maybe this is just me and like my own kind of like what I find icky and like what, whatever. But it's not something I think about, when I'm watching like a Lost or a Romancing the Stone or any type of like shipwrecked romance of like, well, how are they going to the bathroom? Like my
Yeah.
brain is going there, but not
Yeah.
that often. But so it was nice to read in this of like, this is disgusting, but love can still happen.
Yeah. The to spoil the book, but not really. The scene with outer house and the spiders.
Mm-hmm.
When I first joined a first critique book, I mean
Mm-hmm.
book club or whatever critique writing group, I was only one romance writer, and there was a lot of interesting characters. And most of them were retired people and had a lot of experience, interesting life. And there was a gentleman. Oh gosh, his name is John. He was probably in his 80s, and he's from originally from England, and he lived like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the scene about the outer house, he said, when I was growing up in Australia, we had to take a stick and hit the seat to make sure the spiders run away before we use the outer house. He said, you should
Mm-hmm.
put that in the book. I was like, this is really good.
Yes. Yeah. And I honestly like I loved those details. Like and I think like even like it's so funny like what you were talking about Outlander earlier and how much like something that's like really fascinating is like the different like it has nothing to do with the romance or the story, but it's like, ooh, what herbs is she using to like make this? And it's like, oh, those small details just add so much and it brings kind of like a new fresh light, because this is a, we love our, shipwrecked tropes, and it's like, oh, how can you make it different? And you were just like, oh, I'll bring in like more like realistic, nitty gritty, disgusting things and show you that like a cute romance can still happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first they had the deodorant, and then I took it away. I was like, you know what, whatever, they're gonna stink a little.
Right, yeah.
After a
Hmm.
while, they're not gonna even smell it.
Totally. And like that's what happens too, like it's just when you're in that situation, it's just like, oh, what else? We're all disgusting. Like we don't have access to like water and things like that. But it was really funny, like also like, because I think about like, oh my God, I went 2 days without shaving. Like, what would I do? Do you know what I mean? And like, it's like, oh, all that's covered, you know?
Well, I covered that. Okay, I had a laser hair removal,
Right, right.
so it's like my personal
Perfect.
experience. So
It's great because it's like people ask those questions. Like, I mean, because like it's sometimes like it's such a heightened situation to be in, and it's so fun. But like I think that there's so many like people who love this kind of trope that like it's hard not to get lost in the details of like, well, what would I do if I were in this situation? And it's like, well, my hair grows back 10 times, like twice the amount that like, probably normal people's hair grows, and so it's like, yeah, I would get laser for that situation.
yeah, and I had to like the toothpaste, the cinnamon toothpaste. Oh God,
Hmm.
that's my worst. Like I can't stand that. And when I moved here, somehow I bought it because I thought it was like, oh, this is great cinnamon. Like cinnamon. Who doesn't like cinnamon? I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I had to brush my teeth with that because I spent like $3.99 or whatever it was on it, so I had to finish
Hmm.
it.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we're not wasting it. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I gave it to her. How
Hmm.
else can I make her uncomfortable? There.
Yeah, totally. And then also just like how kind of, you know, it's like the level of, I don't know what the word is, like ingenuity of like he makes the, kind of like him using the coconut to make the shampoo, and just like I don't know, like it was just it felt like all of the details were, like I said, all of the details were covered, and it was just like, oh, how much research did you go into like the smaller things of like, oh, how he makes the shampoo, or like how the shower is made, that they like kind of the rigging of it all, you know what I mean?
Well, the shower, that's from my childhood.
Is it
So,
really? Oh my God.
in growing up in Russia
Mhm.
during a summer,
Mhm.
somewhere from noon till 8 o'clock in the evening, they would shut down the water
Mhm.
because there's not enough water for the city. And I used to live in a very big city. So, the certain parts of the town will have no water. So, we had no water. And I mean, it's a summer and everybody's sweaty and it's just gross. And when you come back from work, you want to take a shower. So, what majority of people had who did not live in apartment buildings, we lived in like on a little property and we had a garden. My dad built a outdoor shower. He
Mhm.
had a big whatever that round drum thingy. We'll in the
Mhm.
morning we'll have to fill it with the water. During the day it gets hot, and then in the evening you take a shower. It were more sophisticated because my dad is really good at building stuff and he had
Mhm.
more supplies.
Right, yeah, they weren't shipwrecked on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, she kind of had all supplies. The supplies were there from the beginning of the book. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, she can design it. You know, she took it from her mom's garden for, keeping collecting water to water her plants. I was like, well, I used to take a shower outdoors. Why can't she take a shower outdoors? So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
It was
that's another part of, you take little pieces from your own personal experience.
totally. And I have to say, I feel like in the romance world right now, like at least in my own like algorithm, like I feel like we've reached this age where people are starting to see kind of the sexiness of like our book boyfriends when they just help, it's not like it's not necessarily about like how like racy a scene is or like how great the sex is, but when they just like do a favor. And so there's like I feel like there's all these different kind of examples of like, oh, okay, he helps her with her research or he does this. And in your book, you have he builds the shower, which I'm like, this is the sexiest thing in the world. Like, that's so sexy.
Yeah, she in the one of the drafts, there was so many drafts, she actually builds it
Mm-hmm.
to prove him, how good she is, how smart she
Right.
is. And then when we were rewriting it, I took it away and I gave him that upper hand to help her and
Mm-hmm.
surprise her in a good way.
Well, I will say she does design it. So he kind of it's not I guess it's probably not necessarily about like the building of the shower, but the sexiest thing is him trusting her and
Yeah.
him believing in her, and you're like he has confidence in her, and you're and like that kind of stuff. I feel like it like lately has been like kind of driving a lot of romance readers, and I think that was so great.
Well, it also was very opposite of her ex-husband, who was because was he was very incapable person.
Mm-hmm.
Incapable person. He had to bring her down
Yeah.
and never let
Mm-hmm.
her potential, I guess, to flourish. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Hunter did an opposite thing,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
made him a better person.
But yeah, I mean, he's the ideal man. Like he is, if we want to be, stuck on a deserted island, he's the guy you want to be with for sure.
True.
How did you come up with his character? Like what kind of inspired you with for his character?
Gosh, the poor guy. He went through so many alterations.
Hmm.
Like she kind of was the same person from the beginning to the end. In the end, her career changed in the first book, and then I scrapped that, and it's like, yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess his personality was the same. His background has changed many, 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 many times.
Hmm.
But I took, okay, some things I built off my husband. When he was reading the book, he'll stop. He's like, I say those things. I was like,
Right. Well, do you? Yeah. Yeah.
but other things are just, I don't know. I guess I wanted to find a perfect man for her. And since I
Right.
already knew her character, it was later once I understood romance genre well enough, I rewrote a little bit his background and some of the things that he's done that will, I guess, complement her.
Hmm. Hmm.
I wrote Hunter's Treasure as my second book. So I was still early stages to really understanding how romance genre, writing it, because reading it is
Right.
one
Right.
thing, writing it is a different thing,
Yeah.
works. So that's why I think when I was working with my agent on it, I had to rewrite half of it, which I guess majority of it was adventure that we rewrote. But as I was rewriting the plot of adventure, I had to change them too, or him
Hmm.
at least.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it's basically what I wanted in the man for her
Hmm.
character, and
Yeah.
you kind of just mold him to be that person.
Totally, totally. How did you because like you said, this was, an adventure thing and you did a lot of rewrites. Like, how do you balance out like the adventure part and kind of the discovering the finding the treasure part with the romance part?
Um, hmm. Well, the trickiest thing was not make it either too easy for the reader to figure out,
Hmm.
or make it so hard the readers would just say, "Pff, I don't follow."
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah,
And actually, some parts I thought the riddles were like great, and my agent said, "No, you're giving away too much. Like the reader right away gonna know where the treasure is." I was like, "Well, okay." So I
yeah.
had to rethink balancing ideas with her, how rewrite the riddle, leave the part of the treasure in that spot,
Right.
write the new riddle, and then, figure out of them to figure out that riddle.
Mhm. Mhm.
Most of
Yeah.
it was just changing the no, not the banter, sorry, the dialogue, how they're
Mhm.
figuring out. But still,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
a lot of rewriting. But I don't know how it was the balance between romance and adventure. Some of it went, once I wrote it, I had to go back and highlight parts. This is adventure, this is romance, and then see what do I have of too much.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
it's too much of one or another, take it somewhere else.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
And romance, to be honest, was easier to move somewhere else. than the
Sure.
treasure
Yeah,
hunting.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because, okay, they have to kiss here or do talk there. Just, okay, well, just here and just rewrite a little bit dialogue leading up to it. So,
Right, right. Yeah.
well,
Because I feel like with the treasure of it all, like they are on a bit of a time frame, and it's like, okay, everything needs to happen when it happens, versus like, oh, okay, like the romance can be a flexible plot point.
yeah. And in my book, one and two, there's really no third act breakup.
Right, right. Yeah.
But I think my readers can forgive me because it is action adventure. So the third act was more like focused on adventure itself. Like,
Mhm.
will they not find it? And there's a bad guys. And I'd put a little bit tension between the characters
Mhm.
just because it's a romance and they should argue about something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't like miscommunications. And I don't like when adults cannot sit down and just talk about things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I kind of force them to rehash and figure out their issue quickly and then focus
Right.
on a danger.
Totally, totally. And I actually like kind of like that because like as a reader you're kind of going like, "Oh my god, is what how are they going to work out?" I mean, we know how all romances end, but it was like, "Okay, how are they going to work out their future?" But then at the same time I'm like, "Oh wait, there's like a guy with like a gun after them." Like, do you know what I
Yeah. And
mean?
I'm always afraid, like, let's see. I'm not going to say which movie my husband and I were watching, but we were watching this movie and these people are supposed to be very quiet because there's a bad people. They don't want to be quiet. And then they start singing.
Right.
They
Yeah, yeah,
sing and laughing. And I was like, what are you doing?
yeah.
So, like, when I was writing this book, I was like, okay, they can't really stop and talk too much about lovey-dovey and do stuff because
Mhm.
in reality, it's a bad situation. There's no time to chit chat about love and feelings and everything else.
Mhm.
So I had to
Totally,
constantly
totally.
keep that in mind. But at the
Yeah,
same time,
yeah.
put in some elements of romance that, hey, they still like each other. They're still in love with each other.
Yeah, because I really like how like they kind of like they take like a sex break. You know what I mean? Like I think in the book you refer to like they have their honeymoon. And I'm like, oh, I like this. Like it's kind of like okay, like what's the word? Like compartmentalizing in a realistic way, if that makes any sense.
If we're talking about like in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like when there was no really like danger yet of the other people arriving, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, first time when you meet your significant other or just whatever new relationship, you're so into each other. It's like
Right.
I don't know, sex is like number one thing,
Right. Right.
and they're
Yeah.
young and they're hungry.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like, they're in obviously extreme circumstances. And like, I was thinking, like, a lot of the stuff they have to do is very, like, they don't, like, I don't know, like, it's very, like, focused in terms of, like, okay, we just have to, like, dig this up or we have to figure out this puzzle. And it's like one task that takes such a long time. And no one can sit still and do one task for a long time. It's like you have to take a break and have sex with each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You need to let the steam off or something.
Yeah, let your brain rest.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Like just take like a snack and like instead of a snack break, it's a sex break,
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, gotta reset there.
definitely.
So like with like the kind of like the riddles and like the logic, like I know nothing about software development, but it felt like in the book her job as a software developer like helped her, like her thought the way she thinks as a software developer like helped her to solve the clues in a way. Like was that kind of purposeful when you were like creating kind of like the puzzles?
Sort of. So when she was talking about her professor in college that spent entire class talks about different puzzles and games, that was
Mhm.
my professor. When in my first year of school, my first computer class, that's all we learned is different games and puzzles and like very little of Java. It was so bad that second semester I had to retake the class.
Oh
Actually,
no.
the teacher made us, whoever was in his class, made us to retake the class because nobody knew anything.
Oh my God.
By the
That's
way, I never got the
amazing.
money back. It's like I
Yeah,
learned a lot
yeah,
about the games and puzzles and
yeah. Hmm.
but so it was like my personal experience, but he still kind of made me curious about puzzles, and I guess it was sort of introduction to that.
Hmm.
And when you
Hmm.
write the code, at least in my thinking, you present it with a problem, and
Hmm.
then you have a certain language you have to write for
Hmm.
that problem to be resolved. And by problem, I
Hmm.
mean like task,
Right. Yeah.
this needs to be this on the screen. And then you have all these tools, which is language that you learned to write it, to
Hmm.
make it work. And you sort of, I mean, it's like a puzzle that you have to solve. It is in
Yeah.
my head. And I think it works out to her too. And her father, he also was liked puzzles. So
Hmm.
it wasn't there in the beginning of the book, like when I started writing it,
Hmm.
but to make her character, I guess, more real,
Hmm.
I added that to her father, and that also bonded her with her father.
Right, right. Because like I feel like a lot of I mean what she's doing is she's honoring her late father. She's kind of doing this adventure because it's something that he always wanted to do. There's a lot of like elements of kind of like grief in this story, and it's like okay, like things might not always go to plan, but you still find a way to like unexpectedly honor the people that loved you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was always in the like from the beginning. That's how I put her on the boat.
Yeah.
I had to give her a reason.
Mhm. Mhm.
And actually, was it? I think first was she was turning 30 and she wanted to do something out of character for herself. But then
Right.
I thought, well, it would be much better if she has a reason. And plus, that gave me a reason to make her put her in the stupid situations,
Mhm.
like when
Mhm.
she sees the object in the ocean and she goes after that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
otherwise, like, well, what would it be? So
Right, yeah, yeah,
there
like,
has to be
yeah.
something so dear to you that you will leave all the rational thoughts and just go for it.
Totally, totally. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I would definitely, like, just wade through poisonous snakes to get this because, like, grief is such a powerful, and then love, just these making it, like, high stake like, making it so high stakes that it's like, well, you gotta be kinda dumb. You have to make that
Yeah,
dumb
especially when you
choice.
think you already lost it once, and then
Exactly.
when you find it again, it's like, "What? Can I lose it again?"
Right. Yeah. And like honestly, like what I think what's fun about this book is that like kind of the reality of like what she goes through is very horrific, but like it is like I mean for me, like it's like again my biggest fears in one book. And I'm like, "Oh god, I wouldn't survive. I just wouldn't survive. Like I'd be done in 5 minutes." And so like to see it kind of like balanced out with like oh, okay, she has like a really good attitude. She's very gung ho and she's like care, you know what I mean? Like she's not just like I don't know. I guess for me, I'd be whining all the time, and I like that she wasn't.
She was whining in the first book when I wrote it, or first
Hmm.
draft, and I believe it was my sister who's like, "She's so whiny. Can you please make her stop whining?" I'm like, "Well, she has to whine a little bit." I mean, I think I'm pretty tough person, but I bet I'll whine anyway.
Same, yeah. I mean, it's like okay, like as I said, I mean, I did say 2 seconds ago I wouldn't survive, but it's like okay, I would try, but I would definitely like. I don't understand people who like don't whine. Like I don't understand.
It's just
I
not
don't,
realistic. But
yeah,
maybe in their head they're whining, they just don't want to show it.
yeah, and I just think that people who whine are more forthcoming, and they're just saying what we all feel.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those days I want to like write also a book where I do put people like sort of on the deserted island again, but have like more than just two people. I have like friends that have
Yeah.
like different personalities. That one will be like so whiny, and another one will be like too, taking a charge, because I think that would be fun. I just don't
Yeah,
know. It sounds more like a women's fiction in my head instead of a
right.
romance. I was like, no, I want to write romance.
Totally, totally. Yeah. Well, that's so fun because, like, for me, like, I'm always thinking, like, oh, I would love to write a romance, or like, oh, let me do this. And I'll like come up with like an idea in my head. And then I'll like kind of, I'll be like driving or whatever. And I'll like think of all like the different beats. And then I'll be like, that's not a romance. There's no love interest. Why
Yeah.
did I say I was going to write a romance? I think I just like mapped out like historical fiction or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, you're going to sleep on it, then wake up next day. It's like, And then there was this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm noticing with you, like, you have like so much patience. Like, you were talking, like, you're like what you mentioned, like sleeping on it and letting the ideas come. And I feel like you mentioned that you had to like rewrite this book so many different times,
Yeah.
again and again and again. You started it, you put it aside. um I feel like that takes just an incredible amount of like patience that I'm like, oh, how did you like not burn out, I guess, is my question. Or how did you pretend not to burn out, I guess, if you did?
Get burnout. I mean, that's why they say like write what you love, because you're gonna read it like 1,000 times.
Right, right.
Because like by the end of when I was digging Dr. Jones, when I wrote that book, it came out super fast. But then when my agent read it, she gave me 11 pages of what I have to, per her suggestion, redo.
Uh-huh.
I
Mhm.
could leave it as it is, but if I want to make it better, this is what I need to do. I mean,
Okay.
I was upset for several days. I was
Mm.
like, this is it. I don't like any of it. I don't want to be a writer. I don't want to have an agent. But then, you put the pants, the big girl's pants or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
you sit down
Mhm.
and say, you know what, she was right. I have to redo it. By the end of rewriting, editing that book, then editing with your editor,
Mhm.
then reading it with your copy editor, line editor, I just want to kill them. I was like,
Right.
can we just die?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or be poisoned. Like in my second book, the same thing. Like, let the snakes bite them. Like, let them just let
And
them
it's done,
drown.
page 50. Yeah, yeah,
I was like, oh my God. So you go through those like crazy days. I was like, I don't like anybody. And
yeah.
then you
Mhm.
switch your brain and say, you know what? What if nobody gonna like my book? Everybody gonna hate it. This is stupid. And then a week passes and you're like, oh, this is the greatest book ever.
Right. Yeah, you just go through like this like whole like whirlwind of emotions regarding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the funny thing, like it's happens in the morning, like you don't know what mood you, at least I wake up. I can
Mhm.
wake up tomorrow and say, everything I write is great. Like that
Right.
Lego character when he jumps out a bed and says everything is awesome. And
Mhm.
then next morning I wake up, I was like, no, everything I
Right.
write is bad.
Right. Yeah. So it's like kind of like it feels like you have like an awareness of like, okay, my moods are going to shift. Like that's kind of common, but I just like it doesn't necessarily like not necessarily mean the truth, but it doesn't take me off track. You know what I mean? Of like accomplishing writing a
uh,
book.
yeah, but I have to be honest. So I wrote those two books
Mhm.
before I have an agent.
Mhm.
And then it was just pure luck that they were both action adventure and she was able to sell them
Mhm.
as a package, even though they're independent books from each other.
Mhm.
And then I start writing my next book. I have such a hard time writing it because now I'm being validated by all other people, all the
Mhm.
readers out there reading my book. And I mean, they probably don't know I exist. They're just reading a book, but in my head, they're all judging me.
Mhm.
And that scares me. And that
Mhm.
fear stops me from writing. I went through so many months of just writing block. I'll sit down and I would rather, I don't know, pluck my eyebrows
Yeah.
than write.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, I never experienced that before. I was just writing for myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm finally back into my groove of finishing my third book. My
Mhm.
poor agent is really, really patiently waiting for it.
That's nice. Yeah.
And so I forgot where I was going with that. But
Mhm. No, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, like kind of like almost like you had to like get, I'm assuming like you had to like get back into the mindset of like when I was like finding that moment of like writing for yourself, even though you have like people like looking over your shoulder being like, you done yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I love talking to readers. Like every time when they reach out to me with the
Hmm.
positive things, I talk to them.
Yeah.
And um sometimes people reach out with the negative things, and that hurts. Like
Right.
if you like on a wave of writing, like woohoo, I'm such a badass writer, and then you get DM from somebody how much they dislike something in your book, it's like you crash.
Right. But like who does that? Like I'm sorry, but like I'm kind of like someone who like is living a busy life is like, okay, I just finished a book. I really didn't like it. I'm going to message the author and say I didn't like it. Like what, I'm envious of the time that they have in their day to do that.
It happens, not very
Hmm.
often, but it does. And it's
Hmm.
like, or they'll tag you in a two
Post or
star
something. Yeah.
star review. Like, I didn't need to know that.
Hmm.
Like, so I learned a little trick that I when I sit down to write, I now shut my what is it called? Like I take away my phone. I don't shut it
Yeah.
down just in case my kids need me or my
Right.
parents
Right.
because they're elderly, but I put it away from a reach of my hand, so I will
Hmm.
not try to look at the Instagram, and I avoid social media, and
Hmm.
I also turn off my email
Hmm.
so I don't get any notifications,
Hmm.
and then I write.
Hmm.
And this practice, I started this year, it helps so much. I don't get distracted from good or bad emails,
Right.
and
Right.
it's I think it's very important to disconnect ourselves, like bring us back to the, I don't know, 80s when there was no internet or whatever.
Yeah. 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 Totally. Yeah. That's,
Take a
yeah.
phone off the receiver so nobody can call you.
Right. Yeah. Just like really like kind of like getting in your zone and focusing. Cause I just feel like this day and age, like, especially like, and it's not even kind of like, oh, what's opening Instagram or like what's, let me check my email or something. It feels like there's just like all of these messages of like, you have to write as fast as possible and as much as possible and get it all out there. Like I just feel like there's like this pressure. I don't know, just this hustle kind of pressure to like, don't, you can't eat or sleep or have free time.
And I mean, it really is true. With the way how the technology progressed, we are very now impatient people,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Mhm.
we expect answers really quickly from other people.
Mhm.
I mean, before we would send a letter, and we have several days for it to arrive, then people have to answer back, and it takes several. So it's like I think people were much more patient before. Now it's like I send you a text message. Why are you not answering? It's been the whole 20 seconds.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, "Oh, why aren't you always, like, on and stuff?" And, like, yeah, and I think that's, like, a kind of another reason why, like, this book, like, was so fun to read is because it's like, okay, like, even though, like, the stakes are high, they're not like, okay, they have like their boss is going to kill them if they don't, respond to a text in like 20 seconds. Like, I don't know. It's just fun to see the priorities change when something huge gets taken away, like the internet and running water.
Yeah, and they had no phones.
Right,
So,
right. Hmm.
and in most contemporary romance now, I mean, text messages, it's always there.
Right.
And like in my first book, I had text messages. I'm probably gonna have it in my third book. And in theirs, they don't have phones.
Hmm.
So their whole little communication thing, how they left on the pages, that was added in. I think I think when I was working with my agent, I put them in because I was just bored one evening and still was editing my book, and I was like, why not? Why would
Yeah.
not have a little communication and use that communication to expose a little bit of their flirtation and cuteness, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
I still edit the text messages there.
I loved that. Like, I thought that was so fun. Like, because like basically the characters are like kind of like leaving each other notes, and they're like doing like the bubbles, as if they were on text message, and like it added like so much. Oh God. Not whimsy. Maybe yes, whimsy, but like, kind of just reminding you that like, yeah, this is like a rom com, and like just it helps like to establish like their relationship, beyond just, oh my god, we need to eat because if we don't eat, that's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, because it is rom-com and you want to
Mhm.
find the ways to put cutesy stuff into it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like in the beginning, it was just the blogs, just like you see the text messages in the books. And then I took a risk and I proposed it to my editor to
Mhm.
have it.
Mhm.
And I was fully prepared for her saying no.
Mhm.
And she loved it and was like, awesome. And I offered, I will create them. I will do all the doodles because I know how busy they are. And here I
Right.
am coming up with some extra work for them to do.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And though I was sweating creating them to make sure it will be peer whatever publishing rules for the books are.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when we submitted it and they put it in the books, I found the error. Nobody knows about it except my agent because I panicked and it's like, oh my God, the layers of how I was creating them, they overlap. It's like how it's gonna look in printing. Actually, I don't know
Right.
how it's gonna look at printing.
Yeah.
And she
Just looking at her
said
book
I'm
right now. Yeah.
overthinking
Mhm.
because truly it's black and white, so
Mhm.
it looks normal. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
panicked
Mhm. Mhm.
so bad. So yeah, so that cutie thing, I love it, and I think it's the most excited part of the book that I was looking forward to see in the book when it wasn't print.
Yeah, yeah. I totally get that. And it like kind of like is fun because it's like, okay, even in the most dire of situations, like people are always gonna flirt and like like I don't know, like your personalities don't go away despite,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That you then you would just be a boring person in a dire situation, and no one wants to be a boring person.
yeah. I mean, if this was like a thriller, yeah, I don't
Mhm.
think there would be any cutesy text messages.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and I wouldn't even, no, I mean, maybe I would, but you know what I mean? Like, it would just be like, just different, And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Mhm. So you mentioned you're working on a third book. Can you tell us anything about it, or are you sworn to secrecy?
No, I mean, I think the more I talk about it, the more I make myself to make sure I will finish it because now
Yeah,
everybody knows about it.
you're holding
Um,
yourself accountable on this show. We'll check back in a year. No, yeah.
yeah. Um, well, we will have to see if any publisher wants, like, if my publisher wants it or not,
Hmm.
or they deny, then we have to go with a different publisher if they want. And so I need to finish writing a book first.
Hmm.
And my agent needs
Fair.
to read it and tell me, probably send me 10 pages of what needs to
Of
be
notes.
changed in it.
Yeah. Hmm. Can
But
I ask, is it like an adventure rom-com?
so it is not adventure. It's basically, a, it's still puzzles. They're going to be
Hmm.
puzzles. This is going to be my sort of second chance, sort of enemies to lovers book. I never wrote that trope before. It's
Hmm.
always like strangers to lovers,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm bringing these people from the past,
Hmm.
so they knew each other, and they are all invited to the castle where they have, as of right now, 10 days or 2 weeks to find a hidden jewels
Hmm.
because the castle is going up or is for sale and it
Hmm.
will be sold, but in last month they found out that the jewels that they thought were lost actually somewhere in the castle on a property.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the lord George, that's what's his name right now,
Hmm.
he invites the certain people that he thinks are good at solving puzzles to find them.
Hmm.
So here's my main characters are running into each other
Hmm.
and they have to find it. They compete. And there's other people. I never written the book with so many characters, and that's kind of scares me.
Mm.
And it's like a clue type of thing.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a
Only there's no
rom-com clue.
murder.
Right. Yeah. It's like kind of like, yeah, it's not scary or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was actually a couple days ago, I was writing and I was like, you know what? I figured out everything from the beginning to the end, how they're going to find all the clues, where the stuff are hidden. It's like, there's also romance. So then I went back. I was like, okay, I need to add more romance that will actually complement again the
Right.
adventure.
Mhm.
And a
Mhm.
couple of days ago, I realized, wait a minute, I have character arc for her. I don't know anything about, like, I know about him. I was like, well, what about his arc?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And even though it's a single POV, which is thank goodness, I only have to worry about her arc and not so much
Mhm.
about his. He still has to kind of change
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just a
Mhm.
little.
Mhm.
So yesterday, I had a small meeting with my author friends who were very kind to spend their time with me, like bouncing ideas.
Mhm.
And like they gave me a whole bunch of different ideas, like just throwing them. And this morning, I typed out like 2.5 pages of thinking how I can like change a little bit his personality to fit in because I don't want to write the whole book. So yeah, it's very long answer to your question, but
Mhm.
yes, it's sort of adventure, but not really. There's no danger really, unless
Mhm.
my agent's gonna say bring the
Bring
danger.
danger. Unless you get the note to add danger. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
as of right now, it's just fun puzzle solving in a castle in England during December because it has to
Mhm.
be snowing. I'm sorry.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it will
Mhm.
make it prettier.
Mhm.
So that's the book in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
That's so fun. I mean, I feel like the kind of sells itself. I mean, like we're all watching Trader, you know what I mean? And it's like we love our
I never
castles.
watched that show. Should I
Oh,
watch
really?
it?
It's fun. I mean, it's like silly television, like to like leave on in the background, but I just finished it and it is like, okay, no one's dying, but it is like fun to watch a bunch of people in a castle solving puzzles. We love
Oh,
it.
maybe once I finish this edit, I
Mhm.
will and I give it to my editor. I mean editor,
Mhm.
sorry, my agent. Maybe I should watch it because I don't want anything to influence me too much.
Mhm.
But at the same time, maybe it actually will help me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely I don't watch it and think this could be a romance at all, but you know what I mean? But it's just like, I don't know, like, I think, look, castles are cool. Castles are cool, and it's cool to see.
I love castles. I mean, I don't know. It's called a Singer Castle on a dark island
Mhm.
in Alexandria Bay in England.
Mhm.
I spent a night there. You can rent the castle for one night.
Whoa, that's so cool.
And it was like the best
Mhm.
like vacation we took our kids on. And like
Mhm.
they have a secret passages.
That's cool.
I mean, and you sign the paper saying you break it, you own it. So we didn't break anything because we
Right.
can't afford to break anything there.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
But it helps my imagination of actually some part of that castle I using in this book.
Mhm.
Like her
Mhm.
experience is my experience. Again, I bring a little bit of myself into the book.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's like, oh, so key of just like how to get through kind of maybe if you're right getting meeting hurdles, getting notes, you know, of just like always making sure like yourself is in there so you like can like latch onto it and believe in it, you know. And I think that's inspiring.
Yeah. But anybody can go to that castle. I mean, I checked that
Mhm.
you still can rent it for one night. I think you rent it for 22 or 20 hours.
Wow, I want to do that. I that sounds like so much fun.
It is a lot it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Talking with you was a lot of fun, Olivia.
Yeah.
Did you like that segue? I was like pretty good. But tell us about like just remind us Hunter's Treasure. Tell us when it's out or it is already out. But tell us where we can find you, promote yourself, plug away.
So Hunter Treasure is out. It was released on February 17th in the United States. This book is pretty much everywhere.
Mhm.
Online in the bookstores, in Barnes and Nobles. Oh my God, I cried my eyes out when I saw it for
Aw.
the first time
Mhm.
on the table there. But I encourage people to go to the indie bookstores, order it
Mhm.
there, and you can find me online. I'm on Instagram. I think that is easiest social media for me. So
Mhm.
Olivia Jackson Books is my handle. And please, if you have questions or anything, just want to say hi, slide into my DMs. Do you still say slide into DMs? I don't know.
That
But
sounds bright to me. It sounds smart. If I mean, I was like, yeah, I think that's how they say it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have a website that I always forget to update, which is also oliviajacksonbooks.com. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can
Mm-hmm.
contact me there too.
Mm-hmm.
It would be actually nice to have actual real person contacting me instead of a robot or the spammer.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like someone being like, let's expand your SEO, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? I'm a writer.
Yeah, actually, this morning I was like, when was the last time I updated my website?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much two places where you can find me. And I live in Atlanta. I hang out with authors, all kind of genres. So, yeah,
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Olivia. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations on Hunter's Treasure.
thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me and reading it. And it was fun.
Wasn't that a fun chat with Olivia? It was so much fun that, like, I feel like I need to do a quick wind down, just for you, the Substack subscribers. Consider this moment right now, this post show extended moment, like pillow talk, if you will. I need you to spoon me as I give you this exclusive post episode breakdown. Or is this a nervous breakdown? We don't know. So, when I started off the record and I told Olivia that her book has all of my fears, which include snakes and water, and like everything else too, I was nervous she was going to be like, oh my God, did I come on this podcast for this crazy woman to trauma dump on me? But when I found out that she doesn't like snakes either, and she doesn't have an affinity for cliff diving, I was like, okay, this is my person. She just like writes about the things they never want to do. But anyway, one topic that Olivia and I didn't really have that much time to chat about is the treasure that Hunter is looking for in the book. It is actually real treasure, I learned from the internet. So, take for it what you will. I'm going to tell you about it, but let me remind you that Too Stupid to Live is not a history podcast. So, like, don't go around quoting me, during the many conversations that you have throughout the day about the treasure of Lima. Okay, so it's 1820. Europe is in its like post Napoleon era. Spain was defeated. It made them look weak to the Creoles in South America because remember, Spain has colonized like South America. So Spain gets word that this Argentinian revolutionary wants to liberate Peru. And the Spanish viceroy freaks out because they have treasure on Lima, and this treasure is like insane. It costs like millions of dollars. So the viceroy was just like, you know what? I'm going to hire a neutral party to like put all the treasure in his boat and sail this treasure to Mexico. And he hires this English captain named William Thompson. But when William Thompson sees the treasure, he like turns to his crew and he's like, you know what? We're taking this treasure for ourselves. It is way more than like the what we're being paid. So they steal it. They steal the treasure and then they end up sailing to an island near Costa Rica where they buried the treasure. So the Spanish authorities did end up catching up with Thompson, and his crew got hanged for mutiny. But Thompson himself managed to escape to North America, where he lived the rest of his life, and he passed away before he could go back to this island to get the treasure. Now, he did tell one guy about the location of this treasure, and in the 1840s, this guy did sail to the island, but he didn't find the treasure. He found some stuff that might have been like linked to the treasure, like a coin here and there, but he didn't find like this amazing treasure that like Thompson was like talking about. So after that, a few more people tried to find this treasure, including a descendant of Thompson's first mate in the 1940s. And as of like 2 years ago, there have been 300 expeditions to this island. No one has found the treasure of Lima. Unless Olivia's book is a true story. And if that's the case, I sure feel stupid because I thought it was a romance novel. So I included a link to the article I found about the treasure of Lima in the show notes. Please read it and let me know all of the facts that I incorrectly interpreted just now for this post-episode spooning pillow talk breakdown. Guys, I didn't join Substack to be accurate. I just want to be cool. Thank you so much for getting hot as hell with TSTL today. I hope you have a scorching rest of your day. 'Cause I